Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in to another video. So in this love week, we're talking about love, and today's video is about why your love language changes. And spoiler alert, they tell you that there are 5 love languages. So we have quality time, acts of service, physical touch, words of affirmation, and gifts. But the spoiler is that you speak all of the languages. And so when you take that quiz and when you land on your top several, whether it's your top 2 or your top 3, then you start to focus on how those love languages need to be expressed to you, and you focus on how your partner or the people around you receive love, whether it be your kids or anybody else. But the reality is that you speak all of the language. There's a reason that you lean toward those top ones. And you don't have to let go of the other languages that resonate with you just because that quiz told you that the top 3 are your top 3. The thing is, if you sit and think about, like if you really rest in what you were starved of if you had a negative or toxic experience as a child. That's probably going to be your top love language. If you didn't have a toxic childhood or your childhood was full of rainbows and butterflies, yay for you, one, and I love that for you. And the other thing is that you probably will recognize that your top love language is what you received in abundance, because we resonate with either the thing that we were starved of or the thing that we were given in abundance that we yearn for because we still want it. So for me, speaking from a place of not feeling like I was enough and just wanting acceptance and approval, then you're going to look for external validation. And external validation looks like words of affirmation. And words of affirmation is what I feel like I was starved of, because for the most part, I talked too much and I had too much to say and I had too many questions. And so that was a bit silenced. And then into my relationships, then I tried to talk less and be less and not be a nuisance in voice. So when people approached me, their words were the thing that showed me their love. The danger of that is that when words of affirmation are your love language, but you don't really have an example of what that looks like in abundance so that it actually looks like love, you'll accept people for being charming as opposed to matching their actions with their words. So if you just have words of affirmation, but you don't have acts of service or acts that back up those words of affirmation, what you just have are a bunch of words. And I found that to be true in the majority of my adulthood relationships, because words of affirmation was always my number one. You give me a card, you write me a note, you send me a sweet text. But if you treated me like crap, or we were fighting because you cheated, or you were being belligerent and abusive verbally or physically, then if you could just turn right back around and send a really nice text, then that would probably smooth it all over for me. And so I realized that's a very extreme example, but that's exactly what we do. So if your love language, the one that you score the highest on, is something that you received in abundance, you're going to want more of that. You're going to define your love as that. But what if you are dating a person who you know cares about you, but they don't necessarily show love in that way? Would you then assume that they don't love you? Because I had this interesting conversation with my now 23-year-old, but at the time I believe he might have been 21, where I asked him how he liked to receive love. And he said this very pivotal thing for me. He was like, I just know that you show love differently and my dad shows love differently. So your love looks like this and his love looks like this. And because I know that that's the way that you guys show love, then when you do that for me and to me, then that's the way that I receive love. And I thought to myself, well, isn't that a beautiful thing, that you don't feel like you need to prioritize one over the other because you speak all the languages and you know that the intention of that person is to show you love with that thing. And wouldn't it be beautiful if we didn't block the blessings of our low three and only identify our top two as love, because we got rid of the conditioning that you're only allowed to identify with the top two, because you can identify with all of them. If somebody is buying you gifts and maybe in the past you haven't really been good at receiving gifts because you never got them, does that then equate to the fact that they don't love you as much as if they wrote you a card because they gave you a gift? Or if in your past people try to use gifts to smooth you over, so you kind of have pushed that away as a love language because they bought you, I don't know, a vacuum cleaner on Christmas. Yes, that happened to me. As opposed to somebody who would buy you something intentionally because they know you wanted it. So when your love language changes, or when your top ones that you resonate with change, or you are more inclined to find those things as a representation of love, it's based on your self-love and your distance from toxic love. Because the more you are enveloped in self-love and actual love, the more you will be able to accept all of the languages and speak all of the languages, because you won't place more prioritization over one than the other just because there was a quiz created by somebody who wrote a really cool book. You'll tell yourself, well, when I love myself, this is what I do for me. And when this person shows me love, this is what they do for me. And it's not creating excuses for mediocre representations of love, but it's just realizing that the reason that my love language changed from those words of affirmation to acts of service is because words of affirmation were also used to harm me. So if I resonate with that as love, then as soon as somebody gives me that thing that looks like love, that action that looks like love, those words of affirmation, then I'm going to assume that it's love. But instead, I rested in my self-love and decided that I was able to distance myself from toxic love and create my own definition of love and speak all of the love languages, because I love when people are giving of words of affirmation. I love when they send me sweet and kind text messages. But I also love when they come in my house and go, oh, there's dishes in the sink, I'm going to clean them for her, because I know that she has way too many things to do. And I also love when they know that Iron Man is my favorite Marvel movie, and they buy me charms for my bracelet that are in the shape of Iron Man. And I also love when they want to be near me and spend time with me and plan dates with me. And so I also love hugs and kisses and all those things, and I don't have to put a hierarchy on them. So if your love language has changed over time, or if you're starting to feel like I'm only resonating with this one because I took the quiz one time and that one said it was my love language, just know that you can speak all of the languages. You don't have to choose one over the other. And you can be so rooted in the fact that you speak all of the language that you can feel languages, that you can feel the love of other people emanating from them based on the fact that you see them and the way that they show love to all of the people in their lives that they love. And you know that you've distanced yourself so far from toxicity that this isn't toxic love, it's real love. And you can receive that love in any of its forms because you have given yourself the love that you need and the distance that you need from the toxic love. And you're able to fully be able to be loved and receive that love. Thank you for tuning in. If this message resonated with you, please share this message, subscribe to my page, like all of my social media platforms so you can get more information. Remember that if knowledge is gained and it's kept to yourself, it's selfish, but if you share it with the world, then it perhaps could just be that thing that breaks them free from the bondage that they've been experiencing for decades. And that is my ultimate goal, is to break people free from the bondage that they're experiencing so that they may walk into this world freely and wholly their authentic self. If you are in a space where you want to break free from the things that you can't erase and you've experienced childhood wounds and wounds from the past, my guide to breaking free from the things that you can't erase is in the description below. So go ahead and click that link and get yourself that guide so you can start healing too. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you again next time.